Hey guys, Sparrow here, and today I'm going to be reacting to Something Sweet to Buy Part 2. Oh, the last time I watched this fanfiction, the first part to it anyway, uh, it put a lot of stuff on my sanity. It put a lot of toll on my sanity, so it took me a while to get back on my feet, guys. So here I am, and I'm about to react to something very screwed up, but I don't know. So in the last one, basically, we kind of got some prologue. I guess the thing is hungry for ponies covered in sweet caramel or something. I don't know. It was gruesome, and apparently Apple Bloom and Diamond Tiara make a bet, or they dare each other to not give the Candy Mare any candy, because that's part of the tradition, not the prediction. God. Okay. Anyways, let's just get into this because I don't know what to expect here. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Video is started.
Warning. The following reading contains subject matter that some listeners might find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Emogok. Oh wow, that's a cute drawing of Sweet Belle.
Scootaloo were already a good ways
looks like a list
down
of
the
candy.
street. Apple Bloom kicked at a pile of dead leaves. Any chores, real or made up, forgotten as the pair headed towards Sweet Apple Acres in the privacy of their clubhouse. Apple Bloom was still furious.
I just can't believe Diamond Tiara. Why does she and Silver Spoon always gotta turn everything into a competition? I mean, land sakes, Nightmare Night is supposed to be fun. Who cares who gets the most candy?
Seems like you
did
back
Apple
there.
Bloom's voice change?
Chimed in Scootaloo, crunching a few dead leaves herself.
I know.
Apple Bloom sighed heavily.
I just can't help it. Those fillies get under my skin worse than ticks on a hound dog. But it's too late to back down now. We gotta find a way to beat them.
Scootaloo gave her wings a few hummingbird-like flutters as she bounced into the air, trying to cheer her friend up.
But that shouldn't be too hard. It's 3 against 2. Even
Scootaloo
if we did end up leaving a little candy for Nightmare Moon.
Apple Bloom glared at her friend, who quickly added,
Which we're not. I'm just saying, even if we did, we should still have more candy than they do at the end of the night.
Hey, I guess you're right, Scootaloo.
I do not like that new Apple
said
Bloom
Apple Bloom,
voice. I don't know who that
as some
is.
of her anger drained away.
Those two ain't got a chance against the combined might of the Cutie Mark Crusaders.
Don't be so sure of that.
Panted Sweetie Belle as she finally caught up with her two friends.
Remember what happened at the egg hunt during the last Spring has Sprung celebration?
Scootaloo tilted her head back, as if she were trying to visualize the event that
the background
Rarity's
music reminds me a lot of
sister
Harry Potter.
of.
Yeah, Diamond Tiara bet she could find the most chocolate eggs. We thought for sure we had beat her. But then it turned out she had a good 50 baskets worth of chocolate.
She's cheating.
I had no idea there were even that many eggs hidden.
How much she's
That's
cheating.
because there weren't that many hidden.
Sweetie Belle slowed to a canter beside her friends as she caught her breath. The trio turned onto the dirt road that led out of town. It wouldn't be much longer until they were at their clubhouse.
I overheard my sister gossiping a while after that, and she was saying that Diamond Tiara didn't even bother hunting for any eggs.
Exactly.
Instead, her father had just gotten her an entire pallet of those chocolates from his outlet store. All she did while we were running around like a bunch of agitated chickens was fill up her baskets laughing the whole time.
Well, that's cheating. Why didn't you say something sooner?
Thank you, Apple Bloom.
Demanded Apple Bloom, stomping in the dust.
Well, I didn't want Rarity to know I was eavesdropping on her. Besides, we had already forked over our eggs months ago.
Voice.
There was no getting them back.
Sweetie Belle looked down sadly as she walked.
Rarity was just as outraged when it happened. But there was nothing any pony could do. There was no rule against some pony finding a pallet full of eggs. So you think she's going to do the same thing this time?
Asked Scootaloo as the trio weaved their way through the outskirts of the apple orchard.
You think she's going to get filthy rich to just buy her a bunch of candy and then she'll say she
Yes.
collected it? I wouldn't doubt it. I don't remember seeing her or Silver Spoon once while we were trick-or-treating with Pinkie Pie last year.
Said Sweetie Belle matter-of-factly.
So that's it. We're beat before we even start.
Apple Bloom smacked her head dramatically into the front door of the Cutie Mark Crusaders clubhouse.
We're done for.
Not necessarily.
said Sweetie Belle as she gently nudged Apple Bloom out of the way so she could open the door. The unicorn filly rummaged in her saddlebags as her friends followed in behind her.
Though, we'd never be able to come up with that kind of money Diamanteira's dad has.
No.
There is something we can do.
Carefully, Sweetie Belle spread the pages she snatched at the library on the tiny table the fillies used to make their plans. Scootaloo examined the old wrinkled paper.
Hey, aren't those pages from the old book Pinkie Pie was trying to show us? Yep.
Wait a minute, from the look of the
asked Apple
thing,
Bloom, confused.
it looks
I
like
noticed something about these pages
a list
before
of
we left
what
the
the
library.
Candy Mare is composed
A lot
of.
of that book looks like history
Which,
and mythology.
according
Except
to
these pages
the
right
drawing,
here are
it looks a
recipes
lot
for all
like a
different
candy
kinds of
cane,
classic Nightmare Night
candy
treats
corn
and
for
candy.
teeth,
Sweetie Belle beamed, self-satisfied in
some
her
sort of
own
candy for
brilliance,
ears.
but her friends just stared at her.
Don't
I
you
really
get
don't
it?
know.
We can't buy extra candy like that cheating
Sorry about the
Diamond
background
Tiara,
noise.
but we can make extra candy instead.
Scootaloo screwed up her face suspiciously.
So to counter her cheating, we'll cheat too? Don't think of it as cheating.
Said Sweetie Belle, smoothing out the parchment.
Think of it as evening the playing field.
This never
We'll
works,
still go trick-or-treating on Nightmare
CMC,
Night,
this
but if
never
Silver
works.
Spoon and Diamond Tiara don't,
It always
they'll
ends
have
up
more
bad.
candy than they do for
Anybody who has
sure.
ever seen
This is just
My
to
Little
make
Pony
sure they
episodes
play
will,
fair.
will
And
say the
since
same exact
pages
thing.
seem to have all the original recipes for a variety of candy, no
Which is
pony
all of
can
you are
accuse us for
watching.
just
See
buying
your bronies.
store-bought candy. It's the perfect
think.
plan.
I don't know, sweetie Belle.
That microphone
Apple
of
Bloom.
Apple Bloom's is driving me
It seems
nuts.
a lot dishonest to me.
I'm with Apple Bloom.
Said Scootaloo, settling on her haunches.
I want to put those two high and mighty fillies in their place as much as the next pony, but this doesn't feel right.
Scootaloo looked over the pages.
And besides, this seems like it might be a lot of work, too. We're not exactly the best chefs in Ponyville. Pretty much everything we try to cook ends up burning.
She made a face, remembering a few incidents with some very burnt cupcakes.
That's
Is that
the best
mixing
part.
two
Said Sweetie Belle excitedly.
horror stories in one,
I've been looking
cupcakes
for
mixed
something
with
to do with my sister
something
for
sweet to
Nightmare
bite?
Night since she won't let me help make costumes. Rarity's a great cook, and I'm sure she'll help me make all kinds of sweets. I bet if Apple Bloom asked Applejack, she would help out too. That's actually not a bad plan.
Said
I
Scootaloo
heard Rainbow
thoughtfully.
Dash there.
I could probably talk to Pinkie Pie and get her to help me make some candy as well. Pinkie's always looking for an excuse to make more sweets.
The
That's
trick
true.
there is keeping her from eating what she makes. But
Giggled Apple Bloom.
I don't know, girls. Are y'all sure you want to do this? I ain't one to take back from a challenge. It's just, even with the help, I gotta say, I still have my doubts.
Let me put it to you this way, Apple Bloom.
Said Sweetie Belle, passing each filly a page from the old Nightmare Night book with her magic.
Do you really think you can stand to see that smug look on Diamond Tiara's face when she takes all our
Nope.
candy again?
Still a bad idea, but nope. Okay, more backstory.
It's more beautiful than I could have imagined. The buildings are so tall, look at them soaring so high. And the pretty flags and banners. Oh, Daddy, why did you wait so long to bring me here?
Because, my little moppet, the castle can be as dangerous as it is beautiful.
Is this a
What's like
reference
its
to
inhabitants, really?
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
This
Factory?
is even more dangerous
Not
than
the good
life
version, but the
and
sucky version.
Keep your wits about yourself, my dear. There's magic about
That's
you.
what this reminded me of a
Mistake.
lot.
Ponies appearing and disappearing
'Cause
all the time, that is.
The remake of it
One
had
more
a
little
darker
bit of
twist.
disappearing won't bother these folks none.
Oh, magic!
So the Candy Mare was originally one who
Do you
didn't
think
have.
we'll get to see
Wow,
some,
this is
Daddy?
reading Charlie and the
I've
Chocolate
no doubt,
Factory.
my love. These unicorn folk can't seem
Completely.
to live without it. Not that can either mind. Oh, some pony out of stories song all the crops don't grow.
I also like the way the
That's
art
lovely
is
now, there will
put.
be plenty of time to go
Them as
after
like
we've
white
delivered our
figures, so that we
goods.
don't know what they look like.
Is that where
That
we're
builds up
going,
the
Dad?
suspense.
The other buildings were so stately, but this one looks like... Why, I don't know what it looks like. So many bright colours.
But I wonder
so
who
many
that is
happy
voicing her there.
faces. And the smell. Oh, what is that heavenly sweet smell?
Any
I
child's
don't know,
reaction when
dear.
it when they're
Yes,
taken
this
to their
is that
first candy
unicorn
shop.
Fellow sweet shop I mentioned.
What is that? Oh, what's
It
this?
is
Oh, what's that?
It looks like a sweetie itself, it does. Best we bring our produce round this back. These unicorns can get right stuffy back. What sorts cannot do their front doors and what sorts can't.
Do we have to? It's so dark this way. The front is so inviting.
Front or back makes no difference to our business, Muppet. Business first, then, as I say, plenty of time for gawking and messing about before we go home.
But I don't ever want to think about going home. Not yet. This place is so amazing.
This is Charlie,
Dad.
a chocolate
I wish
factory.
we could stay here forever and ever.
Mixed with Willy
We'll
Wonka
take
and the
care of you,
chocolate
Mum,
factory
if
a
we
little
did
bit.
that, my sweet. But such thoughts from your
I
mum.
wonder if that's what this was based off
Here's
of a
our
little
picture
bit.
now. Hold on. Brought you a
good
fresh
question.
shipment I have, and my little one, as you suggested. She's ever so fascinated by your shop, she is. Is it alright if we have a step in and have a look about?
Certainly. Why, I insist, good
Hello,
sir. Come
Sweeto.
right in. Ah, and is this the daughter you spoke of so glowingly?
Indeed, she is, your lordship, the apple of our eye, this one, and our pride and joy.
Hello, little one. I do so
Is he
adore
an evil
children.
shop owner
It's
type
why I took the shop
deal
over when my
thing?
dear grandmother passed away.
He closed the door just by looking at it.
I
Was
so
that magic,
am
Dad?
sorry about the background
Indeed
noise.
it was, dear. Mind your manners. Don't whisper in front of the gentle goat.
Here you are, little one. A taste of something sweet, as I promised your father.
Oh, cool. I've never tasted something like this. It's so rich and creamy. Oh, what's it called?
Chocolate. One of the finer varieties we offer here. Here, have some more.
My goodness. This one's even sweeter, mister. I love it. So fine. I can hardly believe it.
Oh goodness.
I could just eat them all day.
I'm so glad you feel that way.
There now, you'll spoil the child, you will. We've notable greens and flowers to eat at our home.
Okay,
and
so
we kept
basically
ourselves
this
quite
kid
lucky to
was
have that
introduced
with
to a
his
candy
own
shop,
cone
went a
we've been
little
having.
psycho
Please,
over
allow
all
me
the
to
candy.
indulge the child. I do so,
So
love
what-
to see
what makes
a
her
happy,
into an
smiling
evil
face
demented
on
thing?
some pony who truly appreciates my confections.
Again, I apologize for
It
the
won't
background
hurt her, I
noise.
assure you. Here, child, try this one. I think you will find it most interesting.
Oh, this one tastes funny, Dad. It's sweet enough, but it also tastes kind of chilly. I feel funny.
Of course you do, sweetheart.
Did they
I'll bet
drug her?
you in your little body bound to make you feel odd.
Did they drug
Oh,
her?
I think that's enough, Gov. Begging your pardon, but she's just not used to such fancy things as you have here.
No, Dad, I feel really, really weird.
Or wait a minute,
So
does the
maybe-
candy have a nasty
Huh?
effect?
Dad? Where are you? Why can't I see? Why can't I hear?
What did she do? Where did she go?
She's underfoot, I'm sure. Most children are. But nothing you need concern yourself with. The child is quite safe. You, on the other hoof, well, the city is quite dangerous, you know. There's magic about. Ponies appearing and disappearing all the time.
You mother
One more little pony
fudger.
disappearing won't bother anyone.
Oh.
Stay back! What are you doing with those knives?
I thought that was obvious, dear fellow. Making you
What?
disappear.
What? What the shins? Oh no.
Nightmare Night. Fluttershy hated Nightmare Night.
Oh no,
With
don't tell me
furtive
that we're
glances,
jumping
she
back
moved from
to
window to
the
window inside
part
her
where
cottage, looking out onto the
we're going to see him
fog-choked
die.
gloom. The harvest
Is that how
moon
this
rose low
works?
on the horizon, washing the scene in
Is
a
this
ruddy
how
orange
it
glow.
works?
With its light dying slowly by
Basically,
the
we
second,
see
the
how they're
stars
going to
winked
die,
and
then we kind of
shimmered
get a
as
little
they
bit
grew
of the
brighter with each
story
passing
behind
moment.
it,
Their
then a
sparkling
little bit of the story
crescents
behind
pierced
that
the
story
misty
behind the
darkness
story,
like so many sparkling
and then go
knives,
back to the one where they
offering
die
little
again.
comfort to the apprehensive Pegasus.
I probably just
Fluttershy could hear the distant laughter and screams floating just above the music
yeah,
drifting
I probably
from
just
Ponyville.
confused the hell out of you
But she
guys.
wanted
But
no part of the celebration. Oh, the little bats and black cats were cute enough. She didn't even mind the tiny spiders.
because now we're
Even
jumping
though she
to Nightmare
refused to
Night,
carve
and
one herself, she actually thought the jack-o'-lanterns
just a minute
were
ago
more
we
goofy
were
than sinister.
at like a week before
Those
Nightmare
were all
Night.
fine, but even so,
Then we saw
ever since she was a little
uh,
Pegasus
the-
filly, she had spent Nightmare Night
The
quaking
girl
in terror.
who is the candy mirror,
It
which was
didn't help
kidnapped
that
by
growing
a
up in
candy shop
Clodsdale,
owner.
the predominant decoration in her fillyhood
pretty
had been
much-
wreaths of lightning and perils of
Yeah.
thunder. It didn't help that she was such a poor
And now we're
flyer
jumping
that she
to
couldn't
Nightmare Night
keep up
again.
with
So
the other
is this
Pegasite
how
children as they flit back and
Fluttershy
forth
dies?
collecting treats across the inky sky. She
Sorry.
always ended up on her own, cold and in the dark, with only sudden flashes of lightning and ringing thunder for company. What was worse than that, on Nightmare Night more than any other night of the year, the darkness between those flashes were pregnant with far more disturbing terrors. especially if you had a friend named Rainbow Dash who liked the trick part of
That's
trick
so
or
true.
treat more than any amount of treats. It wasn't entirely Dash's fault, though, nor was she the only pony that seemed to delight in Fluttershy's terror when she was little. The yellow Pegasus just seemed to be an easy target for spooky tricks. She couldn't help that she'd jump at the slightest sound or cringe from the silliest mask. It was just who she was.
Or
The fact her
Fluttershy.
screams were thought of as adorable didn't help
even though
matters in the
the
slightest.
episode,
So Fluttershy locked herself away on
the
Nightmare Night.
Scaremaster
No
says
decorations, no
otherwise.
fellowship, no
she
candy,
is the
and certainly no
Scaremaster.
visitors if she could help it.
Goes,
This was well known in
Sorry.
Ponyville. Over the years, her friends had learned to give her privacy on Nightmare Night, but that didn't stop the occasional mischievous filly or colt from coming out to her cottage to torment her. Fluttershy really didn't hold it against them. It was in the spirit of the holiday, after all. She just hated the holiday and wished every pony would leave her alone. There were, of course, the occasional unavoidable visitors who didn't know about
You mean?
Fluttershy's reticence. Last year, her friend Twilight had come to see her. The shy Pegasus wouldn't have minded that so much, but she had brought Nightmare Moon with her.
Oh, that was
Even if it
was
only Princess Luna,
that was the very
Fluttershy
first
had
one.
thought for sure
What was
her heart
it?
would burst in her chest.
Lunar Eclipse,
It had
one of
been
my
one
favorite
of the scariest
episodes.
nightmare nights in her adult life. Thankfully, nothing all that bad really happened in the end, but that just made Fluttershy feel the need to be all the more vigilant. Tonight, for example. Tonight had been
Because
the
all
quietest
that
nightmare night that
little
the troubled
children
Pegasus
are
had seen in years.
dead.
The peace was welcome. She was loath to admit it, but so far the night had been perfect.
Ponyville
Even
and
so,
killed them
Fluttershy
all.
couldn't relax. The
sorry,
soothing
guys, I don't
sounds
know why
of
I'm
the forest
talking
around
like
her home
that.
in the late autumn evening should have been
Guess
enough to
I'm
lull any pony
asking,
into a
or-
peaceful repose. However, the unusual chirp
Or,
of crickets
yeah,
and
whatever.
distant calls of owls were absent tonight.
Or I'm just trying to
There
add
was
more,
only one kind
severity
of punctuation
to
to
the story.
every sighing breeze, infrequent but still present, the sharp screams of the pony folk down in Ponyville. It occurred to the pensive pony
Oh
that the
my.
music of the town's traditional costume dance had long since died away.
Wow.
Thinking about it, it was late enough in the evening
jumping
now
and
that the
screaming.
dance
Whoever
should have
did
been
that, I
long
don't know who
over.
did it.
Most of the town should have been winding
More
down
likely
their
it was
frightening
Emo Gak because
frivolity.
she would
The
do
young
the background noises,
trick-or-treaters
probably.
heading home for their beds to get up for school in the morning, and those
That
who had
don't
work
sound like a
doing
prank.
likewise. It should have only been the very dedicated to the holiday, or privately, Fluttershy thought, the very stupid who would be up this late. So, Fluttershy remained prowling in her cottage, long after she would have been asleep, trying to figure out why the night's
Because
activities
the-
didn't seem to be ending. Why was
The
it that the screams
candy mirror-
that sounded more
Oh,
bone-chilling by the moment
No,
were echoed
no,
like
no.
childish giggling? Surely most of the children should be asleep by
Shrieking.
now. Thus lost
This is
in
where I'm gonna
thought,
have to start
Fluttershy
censoring the
never saw any
bleeps.
pony
Gosh dang
walk
it.
up to the path that
No,
led to her
no, not
door.
the knocking. Ah.
The knock echoed like a clap of thunder in Fluttershy's ears, causing her to leap straight up in the air and give a tiny squeak. She thought for sure the noise would have been enough to wake the dead, but it couldn't have been that loud as her bunny, Angel, was still sound
Man,
asleep
that-
on the living room rug.
Trick or treat.
The knock sounded again at her front door, and this time the frightened pony could identify that this was all the noise was. Carefully, she brought herself to the door and gave her traditional holiday greeting.
Go away!
What a holiday greeting.
She listened intently, hoping to
What
hear the
a
sound
holiday
of hooves
greeting.
clip-clopping.
Go away!
Instead, there was only silence. Still afraid, but mildly curious, Fluttershy crept toward one of the windows that looked out on the path leading from her home. There was too much fog to see anything clearly,
Hi,
but she
sweetheart.
could just make out
Sorry,
a silhouette
guys, I
standing
really-
perfectly still.
I have a Facebook open, that's why.
Then the knock came
She's
again.
going off.
Please go away.
Tried Fluttershy.
I just
Oh,
want
man.
to be left alone. Can't you just leave me alone?
I wonder who's
There
playing
was still no
Fluttershy.
answer. Fluttershy pressed her ear to the door, hoping to hear some telltale sound
I think that's Emo
that
Gak.
would let her know if
Not
her
sure.
uninvited guest was going away or still haunting her doorstep. She couldn't hear anything.
Is he gonna get her?
Then the thought occurred to her. What if the pony on the other side of the door was hurt? What if she had come here for help but
What?
couldn't
Wait,
speak?
what?
Her curiosity momentarily overwhelming her fear, Fluttershy tentatively opened her front door just a crack, just enough to see whoever it might be who was out there. No pony stood on Fluttershy's doorstep.
They're in your mind.
Confused, she opened the door a little wider, letting a few tendrils of fog drift into her home. There was no sign any pony had been there. It must have just been the fragile pony's own overactive imagination, Fluttershy reasoned.
Nope.
She breathed a sigh of relief. However, her respite would be short-lived, as it was shouted by a sudden high-pitched squeal from behind her that made her whirl and slam the door. Fluttershy's pale eyes darted around the room, trying to find the source of the high, keening sound. She didn't know what she was expecting, but it wasn't this. She found that it was Angel.
That big fat troll!
Every hair of his normally soft bunny coat bristling, looking for all intents and purposes like a ball of pure primal fear.
Oh, he's squealing, saying, danger, danger,
like
danger.
She could only assume was terror. Fluttershy had never seen him so afraid.
What's wrong, Angel? You've never been faced by Nightmare Night before.
She tried to comfort him, reaching with one hoof to try to smooth his fur. As her foreleg came close, Angel suddenly bit Fluttershy hard enough to draw blood. With quick little leaps, he bolted up the stairs that led to Fluttershy's room. Shocked more than hurt, the tender-hearted Pegasus almost didn't hear the knock against her door once again. It wasn't terror that sat inside Fluttershy's heart at the sound of the uninvited stranger's return, but a new emotion that smoldered and burned. Angel had never bit her before. Whomever it was that was out there, they had scared Angel very badly, and it seemed like they wanted to do the same to her. One night out of the year, all she wanted was to be left alone. Was that too much to ask?
No, it's not too much to ask.
She hated Nightmare Night. She hated the scary costumes, the frightening decorations,
the
noisy children, and the irresponsible adults.
Get out of here!
She hated that children were encouraged to go around menacing adults for treats. She didn't even like candy that much. She wasn't going to stand for it. Whoever was at her door was about to get a piece of her mind. Fluttershy threw open the front door and filled her lungs so she could tell every pony, any pony, exactly where they could go. The words died on her lips. Pumpkins.
What?
It was as if a patch of pumpkins had sprouted in her front yard like magic. Jack-o'-lanterns as far as the eye could see.
Bad.
Their soft glow lighting the fog as the moon had done before it set.
Oh no.
It took a moment for Fluttershy's mind to register what she was seeing. Somehow, in the space of time it took her to check on Angel, her entire front yard had been filled with grinning, grimacing, ghoulish, and ghastly jack-o'-lanterns. They smiled up at her from her front stoop. They glowered down from the nearest trees. A few even bobbed along in the brook that ran beside her cottage, eyes glowing despite the water that must surely be able to quench their candle flames. Just on the edge of hearing,
No.
Fluttershy could sense hushed giggling moving around the side of her house.
I would be terrified of that thing.
This had to be some kind of prank.
No, it's not Rainbow Dash.
Tried Fluttershy.
Nope.
Pinkie Pie, come out. This is a very impressive trick, but it's not very funny.
I like how they did the voices for, or the voice for Fluttershy. It sounds very Fluttershy-ish, like when she's scared.
The Pegasus shivered. Glowing faces seemed to be mocking her as the last sparks of bravery brought on by Angel's bite winked out of existence. The laughter was no longer distant now. It crept and crawled just out of sight. There were no screams either. The town was dead quiet. Had the screams? Had they been sharper than last year? Had they always been as loud as that?
No jump scares this time.
Why were they silent now? Why was there no sound at all but a few menacing chuckles? There was something wrong about all this, especially these mysterious pumpkins. Very, very wrong.
Yeah, shut that door now.
Fluttershy squeaked
but I think
and
you
shut
trapped
the
yourself
door
just
as
like you
gently as
trapped,
possible
just like how
before
I trapped
locking
herself in the
and
barn.
And turning to flee. She couldn't stand
There's also
it.
a
She had to get
fireplace
away.
I can see, so
At each window there was a glowing grin peeking inside, their burning eyes easily visible through Fluttershy's thin curtains. She retreated upstairs, hoping to find an escape from the jack-o'-lantern's blazing glares beneath the blankets on her bed. Instead, as she entered the one place she thought would be safe from the horrible smiles, she beheld a sight that stopped her in her tracks and chilled her to the bone. It was a cool night, and Fluttershy often left one window open to let the breeze into her bedroom while she slept. She left the window open tonight as well, and the room was filled almost to overflowing with sneering, snarling, and screaming jack-o'-lanterns.
Oh, this would be a horrid nightmare.
This close, each face was almost familiar, though twisted by agony and fear. But that wasn't what froze the blood in Fluttershy's veins. There was a red smear across her bed. It was almost black in the pumpkin light. A few scraps of white fur scattered about, washed the same hue. Fluttershy might not have noticed it in the gloom, were it not for the ponies gathered around the stain, heads low. The urgent sounds of their chewing and swallowing filled the room. One pony arched its head. Something stringy and red caught between its teeth, dripping slowly, before snapping and sending a spray of scarlet liquid across Fluttershy's face.
Dear God.
She squeaked in alarm. The liquid was still warm, and just a little salty, as it dribbled down her face and into her mouth. Blood. The creatures stood among the jack-o'-lanterns, tendrils of fog from the open windows spilling around their hooves. One by one they turned from their meal. They raised their heads in unison and stared at Fluttershy, mouths set in bloody grins, unblinking eyes. They laughed as their eyes moved over towards her, the rest of their bodies motionless.
No!
Nightmare night.
They started to move towards her, slowly at first,
Nightmare
twitching and
night,
jerking
what
like
if I
marionettes,
give us something
growing
sweet
slightly
to
more
bite?
fluid as they went, but only slightly. Their bodies making a strange rustling noise, like dead leaves, as they spread out from Angel's shredded body.
Oh my
His little
God.
eyes looked up at Fluttershy, glassy and dead.
This is also reminding me of...
Fluttershy was
Thank you.
petrified. She could feel her
but
heart
this is
thundering in her
breathing
chest, her
a
blood
lot
coursing
like,
through her veins. She couldn't
what's it
move.
called?
There was something wrong with these ponies. As they moved slowly towards her,
What's it called?
bits
What's
and
it called?
pieces of them seemed to fall off, rolling away or landing with a wet plop. They crushed
Nightmare
the
on Elm
glowing
Street.
pumpkins
That
beneath
is
callous
reminding me
hooves as they drew
of,
nearer, and Fluttershy couldn't
that
help but think
theme.
of them as her friend's skulls. Flames
Oh,
began to
God.
creep over her bedroom carpet from exposed candles.
Sweet
She
to
felt herself
bite.
sinking to the floor, every muscle in her body shivering, shaking. Her mind was as blank as their unblinking eyes. Fluttershy's vision began to fade as panic seized her in unrelenting jaws. Yet she could still make out their razor-sharp smiles as they drew within inches of her trembling face. Their breath was oddly sweet. The taint of blood only slightly stung her nostrils.
Oh my God.
To bite.
No.
As the nearest pony loomed over the prostrate Pegasus, something inside her snapped. With a shout full of guttural anguish and despair, Fluttershy lunged at the distorted pony with a snarl and took a bite out of its nose. The creature
What?
flinched, a bizarre, warbling shriek rising from its throat as it backed away. With a howl bordering on madness, Fluttershy plunged through the thickening flames and shattered pumpkins. She spread her wings as she surged over the two grinning ponies and out through the
Did she
open
make it
window,
out?
lying free into the chill
What am I
night
saying?
air.
Of course she didn't escape.
Fluttershy's wings ate up the night sky as they never had before, trailing smoke from a few smoldering feathers as she left her house far behind. Her cottage glowed from the inside, much like a jack-o'-lantern, as the fire spread through its timbers. Even so, she could have sworn she still heard the laughter of
Oh my
hungry
God.
mouths
Man,
turning
Angel Bunny
back
got
to
what
their
was coming
feast.
to him.
She flew blindly for a time, the stars of little use in lighting the thick fog. She had to find help. She couldn't handle something like this on her own. No pony could. She darted through the mist, doing her best to make her way to the home of the one pony she thought might be able to help. As
I
she
don't
neared
think
the
we're
library,
done.
the fog only seemed to grow thicker. The town was silent
Nope, we still got
and
three,
still, an effect
four-
of dense fog,
three
or
more
because every
episodes
pony
to
was
go.
gone. Fluttershy didn't
Oh
know.
no.
She knocked as loud as she dared on Twilight's door, her eyes closed tight in prayer and terror, and more than a little anxiety.
They're
When
all
there was no
dead.
response, she began to beat loudly against the door, her fear of being discovered dwarfed by the realization that she might truly be alone.
Oh no.
That was when she heard the sound of giggling behind her. She whirled, expecting one of those horrible, monstrous ponies to be right behind her. She wasn't entirely wrong. The figure was tiny, no larger than a foal, and it still wore the remnants of a Nightmare Night costume. The end of a pillowcase was held tight in its mouth. Though the makeshift sack clearly held candy, there were other things that caused red stains to cover the otherwise white linen. Half the thing's face was missing. That didn't stop it from grinning wide as it lay eyes on Fluttershy. Fluttershy launched herself into the air without hesitation, rising high into the sky once more.
You can't run away from it.
For a moment she completely lost her bearings. Fortunately, it wasn't long before the mist started to melt away, letting Fluttershy see what had become of Ponyville. It was a nightmare brought to life. Down below, the horrified Pegasus could see the twisted forms of more ponies like the ones that had been in her bedroom. They moved among the tattered Nightmare Night decorations and spilled candy. Some houses were burning bright as fires spread over thatched roofs, while other homes stood dark save for glowing jack-o'-lantern smiles. The worst part were the bodies. So many tiny bodies still in their costumes. Some were dragging themselves around like the little creature Fluttershy met at Twilight's door.
Sorry
Others
about the back.
Painfully still. What was worse was she found clusters of them eating and laughing. The strange ponies were thickest near the center of town, but they were spreading in all directions. They ate as they went, parading through the streets by the light of jack-o'-lanterns. Their laughter carried on the wind, as well as a childlike song. Nightmare Night, what a fright. Give us something sweet to bite. Fluttershy shivered uncontrollably. The shock of what she had been through, what she had now witnessed, was finally setting in.
Oh no, it was her.
Her wings felt as though they were about to give out. She needed to land. Fluttershy had no idea where to go. No matter where she flew, the jerky stop-motion movements of these terrifying ponies greeted her. Or worse, the half-eaten remains of some pony Fluttershy once knew. Some pony she had talked to, or avoided talking to. Some ponies she had never had the opportunity to get to know. This was worse than a nightmare. With no other choice, she fled for the cover of the Everfree Forest. Instinct told her to hide and hope that whatever was happening, some pony else could fix it. It wasn't until she was shivering in the dark beneath the trees, her heart still thundering in her chest, that she realized she had a sweet taste in her mouth. Of all the odd things that had happened tonight, this might have been the oddest, though not the most horrible. Not once in the entire terrible escapade had Fluttershy eaten a single piece of candy. She had no way of explaining it, yet the sweetness was in her mouth, making her stomach roil in displeasure. The only thing she'd taken a bite of recently had been... Fluttershy just knew she was going to be sick.
Did she eat a part of Angel?
I can't take anymore!
Subject has expressed the desire to cease for the day, suspending this cycle while the testing chamber is cleansed and the subject is prepared for the next round.
No, not again. I'll be good. Please, I'll do whatever you want. Just stop making me eat for a little while.
Preparing subject for manual evacuation.
Not again. Oh, Mom, Dad, anybody, please! Please help me! Make him stop! I can't bear the pain, the humiliation!
Regurgitation and defecation complete. Continuing with notation while the test chamber is cleansed. Batch 5336.
She doesn't want anything.
Salt, sugar, habanero pepper, and a dash of a warming spell. Subject's response: pained and gagging, begging for water. Describes flavor as like eating fire. Suggests a different type of pepper, a milder spell, or increasing the amount of cocoa butter in the next round of testing.
I hope he gets what he's getting. I hope he gets bitten to death.
What did I ever do to you?
Batch 5337. Chocolate, cocoa butter, milk, and sugar. Layered over live grasshopper with a variant of a preservation spell to maintain freshness and technically keep the insect alive. Subject's response:
okay, this is reminding me of the Courage Cowardly Dog, the very last episode where she finds out what happened.
Market confection as a mystery crunch, or as a delicacy to the
mad
aristocracy.
scientist took him back and sent him to the moon.
Batch 5338. Boiled sugar layered into a hard ball with the aid of a pressure spell. Subject's response: drew succulently upon said candy. When forced to chew for experimental purposes, some of the subject's teeth were broken. Blood and tooth chips spat from subject's mouth along with confection. Confection itself seemed unfazed. Suggestion: market candy as a jawbreaker, with warning about possible hazard. Supplementary note: subject's teeth are deteriorating much quicker than previous subjects. Suggest either reducing sugar content of remaining tests, or liquidation and acquirement of the next subject.
Liquidation? What are you talking about, mister? Please, when can I see my daddy? When can I go home? I'm sick
He's
of...
dead.
I hate candy. I just want to go home and see my mama.
That's the irony behind it.
What you did to me. Just let me go. My teeth hurt, my tongue and throat burn, my stomach is killing me. If you won't let me go, at least feed me something other than candy.
Something other than candy? I may have just the thing. It's possible it could stave off the need for liquidation. Yes. And it might just be worth observing. Batch 5339. Enjoy, subject.
What is this? It tastes spoiled. I mean, thank you, mister. I'm really happy this isn't more candy, but... it's so tough to chew.
Batch 5339. Subject indicates that the meat has a spoiled flavor and is difficult to chew. May have to allow for further aging to break down connective tissues. Application of heat might help with this, as well as the flavor. But advise avoiding this until a method of disguising the stench of cooking pony flesh can be devised.
Pony flesh? What did you feed me?
Subject's parental unit,
What?
or what was left of him. Most of him is in the midden heat by now.
Oh
But I
god.
thought I'd keep a few scraps to try aging techniques on
Oh
his
god,
meat.
guys. Oh god.
It's chewy, you say? I'd hoped it would be fairly tender by now. Oh dear, retching again. I'll have to reactivate the cleansing spells all over again.
Why? Why would you do this to me?
There's cruel people like this in the world.
No.
We have many more tests to get through today, and your mouth is for eating, not cry. So please, do shut up.
What a jerk. God. Man. Okay, Kamer's father, Ragpipe Pony. I'd have to take a look at those a little bit closer, but damn. Okay, I like that episode. That was actually a really good episode. It was... The only thing I didn't like about it was Apple Bloom's voice. Apple Bloom's voice was just a little weird. And again, that adds a good feel to the story. Other than that, I really kind of like how it's going. Sorta. I mean, we're kind of jumping from what caused this massacre to Nightmare Night, what happened on Nightmare Night. And then we're jumping to the past on how it all started. It's got like 3 different plot lines, which I kind of like that it's got 3 different plot lines. It expands big time, which is probably why these episodes are so long. It's pretty interesting, but I don't know about the way that the candy bar was created. I don't know if it's even, still the way it is, but I don't know. It was a really good episode. I liked it, and that one wasn't as gruesome as freaking episode 1. Holy crap. Episode 1 had me on my knees. No, that one had me gagging a little bit, but not as bad. I mean, in the first one, just the sound effects when Applejack dies. Oh, yeah. But the person who thought I was a coward and thought I chickened out of this, here's your sign. So, there you go. Okay, but I don't know when I'm going to be reacting to part 3. It's when I get to it, which I don't know. Here's the thing, guys. I write fanfics. I do audiobooks. I have to do a lot of stuff. Like, I'll be going away for 3 days this week, and yeah, it's a lot of work. So, please be patient, and I will continue to react to this now that I'm 2 episodes in. It's actually a pretty interesting story. dark, but a good series. So, I guess we're done, and if you... trying to think. Like, comment, and subscribe for more, and until next time, guys, that's all for now, and Sparrow out for now.